Hello, my loves. Johanna Burkhardt here, multidimensional channel, teacher, and healer. We're going to be talking March energies. March energy update is here. And we're even going to be going a little bit into April because it's just, the energy is so good in March, but there's going to be this massive transformation from March to April that we've got to talk about, and what this month is helping us to prepare for that and to build up to that. So if you're new to me, I'm here to help you go from where you are to where you want to be through trusting your intuition, through learning to trust and love yourself, to lead yourself, to create the reality that you are desiring, through embodying those frequencies, through becoming that change. And I do that in many ways. But we are going to dive into March's energies because there's not a lot to cover, but there's a lot of interesting stuff to cover. And I know so many of you have been waiting for the energy to shift, waiting for the energy to feel lighter, to feel better, to just have that break. So many people have said, oh my God, when are we going to get a break in the energy? And I've even heard people say, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, when I've been talking about it. But the energy has already felt so much better. We have a lot of interesting things that are really helping with that. So as you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know that you're watching. If you're watching on TikTok, I am also live on YouTube. So if you prefer to watch on YouTube, you can switch over. So let's get into this. And if you feel called to share, you guys, and share this message, so many people, these energy updates, you guys know I give so much information on helping you navigate the energies. It's one thing to come on and talk about astrology or even galactic information or all the alignments. It's different when somebody actually helps you navigate the energies and tells you what you need to do. So, ways that you can help navigate it. So if you feel called to share and help somebody else out, please do so. So for the month of March, there's so many words that I could put here, but I've settled on becoming, right? The energy of becoming, which happens to also be my free 30-day challenge that I'm currently running. But it really is about becoming. And I really want to talk about what that means, because it's a mix of an integration of the frequencies that we've been swimming in since the shift happened in December, right? So you guys know that I've been talking about this pretty much most of 2020. We talked about this shift. But in the middle of December, we started that pivotal shift, right? That I told you was going to last until about the middle of January, which put us into a new sector of space that allows us to receive frequencies that are, extremely high frequency, right? They're frequencies that we have never, ever felt before, right? This is all brand new territory. And these frequencies are so ridiculously high that in February on the 222 portal, actually a little bit before that, we had this huge quantum leap, right? I talked about that. I did a little energy update to kind of bring you guys into that. But that timeline jump was a collective timeline jump. And what's happened since then is we have been placed on an accelerated path. So there's a lot of shifting and changing that's going to be happening over the next 2 months. And March isn't just about integrating those new high frequencies, right? That's when we're doing that, when we're integrating the new high frequencies, what is that having us do? Any old versions of you, any versions of you who you thought you were, or who you thought you were supposed to be, right? That old programming, those old beliefs, those things that said, this is who shapes up who I am. This is what defines me, needs to be shedded, because you are no longer that person. And the frequencies that everybody has been intaking are having a rapid effect on your nervous system, on your physical body. And many people have been experiencing these crazy shifts in their life where they're being asked to let go of things again, right? To let go of big things in their career, in relationships, in business. They've been asked to shed. But that shedding came in the form of a holding pattern, right? So we, for last couple of weeks of February, really from the last basically 10 days of February, we were placed in some type of holding pattern is what it felt like a waiting room, right? And in that room, we were being asked to strip and asked to shed and to release who we thought we were or who we thought we were supposed to be. And this all comes back to programming, right? So as we're becoming through the month of March, what's really going to be happening is you're going to be taking all the purpose or all the pain that you've been experiencing throughout your life, all the pain of your most recent transformation, all the pain that you experienced in 2020, right? When I say pain, I mean the emotional turmoil, the mental turmoil, the lack, the limitation, the constriction, all of those things were pressurizing us to take radical responsibility for the life that we have created, and really allowing us to see that it has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with your parents, your children, your spouse, or anybody else. It has nothing to do with those things. That you are the creator of your reality based upon your belief systems and how you react and respond to things, right? So do you create the terrible experiences that come to you? Not necessarily. Sometimes you are a major factor in that, right? You're only going to attract what you are available for, right? You're only going to attract, you get what you expect. So the attraction field is always on a subconscious level. The things that are running underneath, right? That you're not even always aware of, depending on your level of awareness. Okay. So we're going to be taking all of that and we're going to be transforming it over March into who we want to become. And something that my guides, and I shared this not that long ago on Instagram and on my Facebook page, was a message that the guides brought in. And they said, when you let go of the story and you let go of the blame, only wisdom remains. And that wisdom, right? That wisdom is meant to be the new foundation that you begin and build yourself upon, right? We all have a root stock. And so as we're going through, let me move my mic. As we're going through this shedding, it's like we're removing dead flowers off the plant, right? Or off, the major root stock. And we're planting new seeds, or we're grafting new things onto that rootstock and saying, this is what I learned from this experience. This is what I learned from this experience. This is the wisdom, right? We detach from the story. We detach from the definition that something that happened to us defines us or means something about us. We strip all of that story away, all of that programming away, and we strip ourselves back down to bare bones. And I know personally for me, I have felt a lot of this shift in that form, being stripped down to my roots, right? And so a lot of you are going through that right now. And what you're being asked to do is to let go. And if you can't let go, if you're holding on to something, if you can't make a decision and move forward, right, then you have an inner conflict happening. You're in doubt. You're not trusting your transitions. You're not trusting what your intuition is telling you to do and to move forward. There's a fear program running. So when we find the fear program, we can, ask ourselves what we're afraid to lose. We can take radical responsibility. We can face what's happening head on, right? And when we face it head on with grace and with compassion, with nurturing ourselves, it alchemizes, right? And we come into that 0 point field. So we're going to go over I have some notes on my board that I want to make sure I don't forget. So there's 3 major phases this month. Major themes, that's the right word I'm looking for. So the beginning of March, deception, right? I'm going to explain what that means. The middle of March, we have a major expansion phase that we're going to be going through. And then at the end of March, very end of March, we're going to begin a huge rebirthing cycle. And I can't tell you how big this is. This thing is huge. And I want you guys to take what I'm giving you today and really take it seriously. March and the first 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of April, it's go time. This is quantum leap time. This is, if you take what I'm about to tell you and you take it seriously and you commit to really stepping into becoming the version of you that you want to be, right? You have an opportunity to completely change your life. And we have a lot of assistance that's coming in for this. So let's start with deception, okay? So the deception, we're going to talk about it from the internal perspective and then from the worldview. So the internal perspective, right? When they're asking you to shed who you used to be or who you thought you used to be, I want you to think and ask yourself these questions, right? Where are you lying to yourself? Where are you showing up, whether it's in your family, your friends, your employer, your career, your business, your whatever it is? Where are you showing up? Pretending to be, pretending to feel, and then, but something that isn't real, right? So for example, it'd be like me coming on here on this live and being like, I am super confident and I feel super worthy and I'm super abundant and this is my life. It's so beautiful. It's so perfect. And then I hit the off button and I go curl up on the couch and start crying because I really think I'm not worthy and I don't believe anybody's going to listen to me, right? Or I'm worthy of anybody's time or energy. So do you see what I mean by that? Like, where are you putting on a mask? Where are you putting on a front? Where are you lying to yourself about what's really going on inside of you? Where are you deceiving yourself? Where are you putting on a front? So ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself. Like, you don't have to come online and tell the world, right? But you need to be honest with yourself. And is that what you want? Is that what you want to portray? Or do you want to be vulnerable, which is your true strength, right? And show people how you are walking through your, through your pain or through your transition, because we are all human. Okay. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I still go through transitions. I still experience ascension symptoms. I still have bad days, but I have the tools to navigate them. So I'm not trying to say I don't have bad days, but I navigate through them. And then I always generally share them, how I got through it. So where are you deceiving yourself? Where are you not being honest with yourself? Where are you not being honest about where you want to be in your life? What you want from another relationship, right? What do you want in a partner? How do you want that partner to speak to you, to talk to you? What do you want for your career? How do you want to be to service of humanity? And they don't have to be the same thing. So you really need to get honest with yourself about where you haven't been showing up, where you haven't been giving your all, where you have been hiding, all of those things. And listen, I know that that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. It's really hard. And I know that because I was that person. So for you to look at yourself in the mirror and have to take radical responsibility for the life that you have created thus far is not an easy thing to do. But if you can do it from a place of, I'm no longer that person. I have compassion for that version of me. I have grace for that version of me. Did you know that grace cancels out karma? When you make that space to allow that other version of you or another person to be where they were or are with compassion and empathy instead of blame or projection or trying to fix them or, fix yourself, you instantly alchemize karma. You instantly alchemize all of the generational trauma. It's not hard. It just takes courage. And what heals you facing your deepest wounds is forgiveness, right? Where you forgive that pain back to that version of you. And you say, I'm not going to carry this anymore. I'm not going to carry this pain forward. I'm not that person anymore. So stop carrying the baggage of all the versions of you that you used to be. Set it down and say, okay, who do I want to be? What does that life look like? How do they behave? How do they speak? What kind of schedule do they hold? How do they speak to themselves? So this is the internal deception where we stop lying to ourselves and we take responsibility and we decide to be committed to our own evolutionary journey. On the worldview, right? So within, so without. What we're going to be seeing is that curtain coming back a little bit more. So this year, I told you guys, is all about disclosure. It's all about reclamation, reclaiming those versions of you, reclaiming our sovereignty, that we are innately free, sovereign beings, reclaiming our power. So as we go throughout the year, the curtain's going to be pulled back a little more and a little more, and we're going to see the deception. You know, this is why I said in February, I said, there's a reason why things played out the way that they did. It's one thing if someone was to go on national TV and tell you all the bad things that people are doing. Would you really believe that one person? Right? Some people will. Some people already know, and other people would be like, no, I don't believe them because it came from that person. But when you see the ridiculous things that are happening, especially if you're in the US, the things that make no sense, you can't live in a state of denial anymore. You can't. You cannot live in a state of denial about what's really going on, about the true deception that has been taking place for a very long time. So once you see that state of denial that you've been in, or you have the revelation of, oh my God, like there really is a lot of deception and manipulation and games being played right now because we are the people. The people are the commodity. You can't unsee it. So it humbles you and it brings you into that 0 point field and you say, okay, there's some shit happening in this world and it's not okay. How can I be the change? Because I am a part of that collective that is, and that collective field, right? What the collective needs, the dominant frequency of any collective field is what we will experience. Okay, so that's going to be different per state, and it's also going to be a different level for different countries and then the world, and even further beyond that. There's so many layers here, okay? So you're going to start seeing, and we've already seen it. Yesterday, a ridiculous number of people stepped down. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that people don't know about, and they really don't need to know about it. It's not about being distracted by the world events. It's about saying, you know what? I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be someone that lives from a space of victimhood or deception or manipulation, and all those energies. I want to be someone who stands in their light, stands in their power, takes responsibility, says, I want to create my reality and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. And if that means that you are the only one that sees the beauty of the world and lives your life skipping down the road whistling, then so be it. You're not in charge of everybody else. You get to control what you see, feel, and experience at any given moment. As we move into the middle of the month, we are going to be having massive expansion, okay? And Mercury and Jupiter are going to be really assisting us here. Even Venus is going to be coming into play. So there's going to be this expansion that's happening. And what this expansion is going to be allowing us to do is to see around all sides of whatever it is that we need to see around all sides, whatever we're experiencing in our current reality. This is where a lot of clarity is going to come in. But for that clarity to come in, we got to go through the shedding process. Okay? So think about a belief or a situation, and it's this small, right? You've constricted your view. When we talk about a limiting belief, what's happening is you have taken the quantum field of all possibility and opportunity, right? The quantum field is infinite potential. And you're like, no, it can only be in this little space. This is the only thing it can be. Well, Jupiter and Mercury are going to come in and give us a little help and really boost that expansion field. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us enough wiggle room for people to really have some big aha moments about some very limited things that they have been dealing with, right? Really kind of expanding your belief systems, allowing you to see what you couldn't see before. But that expansion is going to bring more healthy relationships in, more opportunities for career, business, friendship, partnership. It's also going to give you some insight to yourself. So another part of this expansion phase is the new moon in Pisces on the 13th. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is clairvoyance. It's seeing the subconscious realm. It's seeing with clarity what's running beneath the surface. So when we are able to see and bring the subconscious conscious, and we have enough expansion to wiggle around and move in it, then we begin to see parts of ourselves, pathways, opportunities, things like that that we couldn't see before. And what that is going to do is give you choice. It's going to give you choice, right? Because at the beginning of the month, when we have the deception going on, right? In addition to that deception, you may be seeing the world from that victim consciousness. You may be seeing your situation from, I'm stuck. I can't move forward. I don't know. I don't get the answers, whatever, you're blocked. But, you know, something that has been sticking with me since I heard it, which is your perspective is your power or it's your prison. So for the first half of this month, we're giving the opportunity of choice. And they're saying, choose how you want to see things. Choose. Do you want to see that the bad thing happening to you or the stuck energy or the limitation or the restriction as a bad thing? Or do you want to see it as, this is happening for me? What is it trying to show me? What is it trying to teach me? Because a no, a rejection, is just a redirection. And another thing that my guides have been talking about is manifestation. And what they said is when you get a no, when you're trying to manifest something and you're like, I've changed my beliefs, I'm working on it, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing whatever, right? That, you know, it's $1 billion industry because people like to teach you a ritual when you're always manifesting. There is never a time that you are not manifesting. It's about doing it intentionally. It's about being conscious about it. But what they've been saying is when you get a no, that means that your highest and best opportunity came in you facing the limiting belief that is keeping you in repeating this limited or constricted experience. So every time you get a no or a rejection, there's a limiting belief that has made that possible. And so instead of experiencing fleeting moments of wealth or love or freedom, we go through these feast and famine cycles because there are still limiting beliefs in place that keep us from being able to sustain that frequency of that in which that we want to call in. So when you understand that, when you're told no, when it doesn't manifest, when you are rejected, you can look at it and go, oh, okay, so this means there's a limiting belief that I need to get out of the way, that I need to resolve so that I can not only have that thing, see that thing, have that clarity, but now I can sustain it when it comes and I won't be afraid of losing it. So it's really, really a beautiful thing that they shared with me that I've now shared with you. So we begin the transformation with the expansion because that expansion is literally giving us more options, giving us more choices, allowing us to see different versions of ourselves that we couldn't see before. Clairvoyance isn't always about seeing the future. It's about seeing the true you. It's about seeing all of you. A spiritual awakening is just you becoming more aware of self. The more aware of yourself you are, the more you are in charge of the creation of your reality, instead of running it on a subconscious level and then calling it fate. You're now in the driver's seat instead. So that expansion is really going to give us a boost. And for some people, this expansion, like I said, is going to be felt in love and abundance and freedom, opportunity. It's really going to open that. But in order, you got to make that space, you guys. You got to shed. Okay. So then all of this is prepping us for what's coming in this rebirth. So this rebirth is really going to happen March 25th, give or take, right? I don't like to do hard dates, but that's when the energy feels like it's going to start its transition. Now, remember, if you're super sensitive like me, so someone who's super tuned into the planetary consciousness, into the collective consciousness, if you are a way shower, someone who's meant to lead the way, you're going to feel this earlier, right? Sometimes a day earlier, maybe sometimes 2 or 3 days earlier. So if you feel it days after the 25th, or you start feeling it before the 25th, remember, time doesn't really exist, you guys. It's a concept humans invented. It's a 1260 timing frequency. So just know that this is a fluid. I'm giving you guys dates so you can have an estimate in your head of when things are going to shift. So the 25th through April 13th, that is a big freaking portal. That is a big freaking portal. And it really is the energy of the Phoenix. But really that energy is going to be through the beginning, the first couple of weeks of April. But it starts in March. So we got to talk about it and we got to prepare you. Because again, you're going to be turning your pain into purpose. You're going to be taking that wisdom and building the new you upon it. So that when we get to this rebirthing experience, this rebirthing is you integrating that new version of you. You've been practicing through the month of March and you're going to go through this rebirth. And in that rebirth, you're going to come out a whole new person. And you are going to be asked to step forward in that new energy, in your new body, in that new structuring. Super, super powerful energy. Not only that, but this rebirth portal is also part of the galactic return. So the galactic return helps to assist humans with aligning with the cosmic whole. And it's generally a harmonic convergence. Okay. So we are all collectively going to be reharmonizing our energy fields through this rebirth. This is why it excites me, but it also, you kind of get the little nerves as, oh, this could be intense energy. It could bring up some crazy stuff. We could have, your head starts to go. Don't go there. You're not there yet. Stay here with me. But just know it is things that we're going to be experiencing, right? So on a collective level, we have to raise the vibration of everybody, right? The whole. That doesn't mean each and every person's vibration raises or frequency raises, but it's the majority. So when we go through this collective harmony, there's going to be, every time we raise our frequency collectively, every time the light gets brighter, right? That what goes up also comes down. So remember, there's two sides of the same quarter, right? Same coin. There's a heads and a tails. So light and dark are the same thing. It's one. This is just this side of that frequency bandwidth, and the light is this side of the frequency bandwidth. But they are the same thing. There is no separation between dark and light. It's just different ends of the spectrum. So when there's expansion, we go deeper into the dark, but we also go higher into the light. So when we bring on more light, it's like somebody turning up, what are those lights? The dimmer switches, where like maybe you were cleaning and you had the light up a little bit and then you jacked it all the way up and you're like, oh my God, look at all this dirt I missed. So you're going to see more things being revealed collectively. And you're going to think, oh, I thought we were supposed to be getting better. I thought the light was winning. I thought we were going back to love. We are. But when the dark comes up, when the problems arise, when you see the terrible things that have been happening, It is not for you to go into blame. It is not for you to get on social media and be like, do you see what's happening? I mean, if you want to do that, do it. I'm not going to judge you. It's going up so that we can hold space for it. All last year, I talked about the ancients talking about the karmic rising, right? This karmic bubble rising from beneath the surface. All of this energy that we've been holding on to for all of this time, through all of these, lifetimes and generations, the fall of Atlantis, the fall of Lemuria, all of these things, this huge karmic underbelly is rising up. And when you guys feel pain, right? When we have these huge energies and you're like, oh my God, I'm so heavy and I feel this constriction on my heart and my stomach is nauseous and my head's hurting, and you're feeling all this emotion, the reason why you're feeling it is because it's going from the lower chakras, right? It's rising up your column of light, and it's like standing at the doorway of your heart, and it's saying, will you let me in and love me? Can you just hold space for me and know that this is rising up to be seen? Because when we see it, when we hear it, and when we allow it to be safe and say, this is showing me what is alchemizing. It's not showing me what's going wrong in the world. It's showing me that now it's coming up to the surface to be seen, so we can wrap it in the energy of love and alchemize it. I want you guys to really hear me when I say that. Because as we go over this year and next year, you guys are going to be seeing some really dark crap. And for some people, it's really going to mess you up. But if you can run that program and install that program in you that allows you to have that shift in perspective to say, the reason why I can see it now and I couldn't see it before is because now I get an opportunity to wrap it in the love, the energy of grace and compassion, and alchemize it. It's rising up. So something that I tell my private clients, my private mentor students all the time is this. Because sometimes they'll be like, Johanna, I'm working with you and I feel like it's getting worse. And I say, yes, that's a good thing. Why? If you've ever watched somebody die, and I have watched way too many people die, when somebody's terminally ill or on their deathbed, usually hours or days before they cross, right? Because if you know anything about quantum energy, right, or the auric field, you know that when it's your time, your aura will pretty much disappear about 6 weeks before. But you still have to have some spirit, right? Some energy left to operate what's left in this body. And most of that time, those last few days, you're going through life review anyway. But right before you get ready to transition from one version of yourself to another, right? Human, dense, light body. Right before that happens, sometimes hours, sometimes days, all of a sudden they look like they're getting better. Their color comes back. Maybe they're awake again. Maybe they start eating a little more than they were. Maybe they start showing signs, right, of improvement. And then you get this false hope and you're like, oh my gosh, they're getting better. And then next thing you know, they're gone. Why? Because the last thing that exits is out through the heart. So whatever energy is left, right, whatever energy needs to, before you transition, whatever's left in your body all comes to the heart center, which when we operate from our heart center, we radiate, right? Our radiance is warm and we feel, we just feel so light and free and happy. All of that energy is coming into the heart. So when you feel things getting worse, it means that energy is all starting to wrap around your heart. And what it's asking you to do is drop your walls and allow yourself to hold space for yourself. Something that I talked about yesterday in my 30-day free challenge of becoming your best self, something that I mentioned to them in their first class was, well, it just went out the door. This is what happens. I lost the stream of consciousness. It'll come back. So we were talking about all of these things and let's see, it'll come back. I'll bring you back to it. So anyway, On March 25th, we're essentially going through this wormhole, and the first of 4 super moons are on the 28th, right? So we start on the 25th. The 25th always 3 days before the full moon, 3 day, or any moon, full moon, new moon, 3 days before, 3 days after. It's a portal. It's a portal of energy. So when you're in that portal of energy, it's pretty much a wormhole, which is funny because this is called the worm moon. Nothing's by accident, right? So we're going to be going through this major rebirth portal, and galactic return is going to be assisting with the collective harmony, harmonizing the collective field, raising our frequency to a whole new vibrational standard for the world. This is super pivotal for us. Not only that, but I'm sure you guys have all seen that for March and most of April, no planets are in retrograde. That is a lot of energy moving forward. That's a lot of forward motion. Mars is moving out of Taurus, which is stuck hardcore energy, and it's moving into Gemini. So things are going to start moving again. We're going to feel that forward momentum. It's going to be really, really good energy, right? So if you feel anything that isn't good energy, just know that that's a representation of just something that's happening to you internally. And it's not a bad thing. We're still going to have days where we have heavy, we have a lot of frequency coming in and we feel the ascension symptoms, but it's going to be way lighter than it's been. Please take my word for this. This is going to be happening. So all of this is leading to awakening of the heart to lead us to the stars. It's like a syncing of our energies, right? So the more that we can move the collective into this beautiful, loving frequency, into the heart center, right? Living from the heart center, which is what most people consider to be 5D, the better, the more that we can really shift and transition. But it's going to take you guys no longer being distracted by what's happening around you and what's not going your way, and you taking radical responsibility and really standing in your power and sovereignty and saying, this is who I'm going to become. Like, this is how I want to live. I'm not going to live by giving my power away to anybody else. So if you have someone who's been stuck, feeling unclear, feeling like you don't know which way to go, which direction to take, what to do next, if you're in that limbo state, try to change your perspective and don't see it as you're stuck or you're in the waiting room or any of those things. I really want you to see it as an opportunity to stand there and just start shedding, right? Instead of having to move forward and shed at the same time, you're kind of giving a little break where they're saying, stand here, strip, just start pulling it off. Just start being honest with yourself, looking at it, doing these things, and really stripping yourself down, right? Allowing yourself to get to that bare bones energy. And that's why March is going to be such an incredibly transformational month. So even though I put the Phoenix as the symbol for the cover art this month, we're building up to the Phoenix. We're building up to the rebirthing that will be in April. But what does the Phoenix represent? It's like the rise of the ashes rise. So when you take what you stripped away and burned and said no more, you take that, right? You get to take that energy, those ashes. Ashes are a great representation of energy. And you take it and you make something else with it. You use it as fuel. You use it to create. There are so many things that I experienced in my life that I've experienced more tragedy than the average person, way more. And people always used to say, how are you so strong? How did you get through all of this? How did you do that? And I look back and I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Especially when I was younger, right? I don't know. I just kept going. But today, I know that when I stop, and I used to think that was strength. I used to think it was strength to pull my big girl panties up, to swallow what was happening and say, nope, can't deal with this. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I have a business. I have all these duties. I got to shove that down and not face it right now. I don't got time for this. And when you do that, it comes back tenfold. Because when you won't look at it, then they have to bring people, places, and things to show you what you won't see. And that's when we attract the bad things. That's when we attract the bad experiences, the asshole people, and those types of things. because now those people have to come and show us, mirror to us what we won't look at for ourselves, what we won't face. And then we go into the cycle of blame and then guilt and shame, and we go through these ridiculous cycles. So back to what I was telling my community, in my 30-day free challenge, is that true self-care. A lot of times people talk about, I tell you, love yourself through it. I'm here to endure in order to nurture. I used to think that meant that I was nurturing other people. And yes, that's a part of it. But what my guides came in and said is, no, yes, you will do that, but you endured so that you would learn to nurture yourself, so that you would return to the safety of the inside of your being. You are the safest person you know. You know who you are. You know what your intentions are. You know that what you're experiencing is a story. It's not real. The programming inside of you is programming from your parents in the first 7 to 14 years of your life. They're not yours, but you're defining yourself. You're taking what happened to you as a child and you're doing it to yourself now. And so I said, most people think self-care is, let me take the salt bath, let me get a massage, let me meditate, let me cook good food for myself. Yes, all of those things are self-care. It's respecting your body. Your body is a consciousness. So when you respect and love your body, it responds in kind. But what most people don't realize is if you're doing all of the things for self-care, but when you make a mistake, when you fall asleep, when you have moments of sleep, and when I mean fall asleep, I mean you're not aware. When you fall back into the old programs, when you fall back into the old patterns and you catch yourself, how are you speaking to yourself? Are you beating yourself up? Are you saying how stupid you are? Oh, that was dumb. Why'd you do that? That was stupid. Why'd you do that? Here you go again. You go through that cycle of shaming yourself. And then you feel guilty about shaming yourself. Then you get into the energy of resentment. Right? And then you just keep going and the cycle gets bigger and deeper and bigger and deeper. True self-care is taking those actions of treating your body like a consciousness and respecting it, loving it, and taking good care of it. But it's also about how you're speaking to yourself. Are you parenting yourself? Are you being the mother and father that you need in this now moment? When you are hearing those words or feeling that energy of, I'm not worthy, why bother even doing this? It won't stick around. I'll be abandoned again by it. The money won't stay. The relationship won't stay. They're just going to reject me. Oh my God, I think about how much work it's going to take for me to get to the space that I want to be. That feels so daunting. That's not loving yourself. That's not nurturing yourself. So if you're doing the actions, but you're speaking to yourself terribly, you're becoming your own bully. You're abandoning and rejecting and denying yourself. So when you think about those wounds, I have an abandonment wound, I have a rejection, I'm afraid of rejection, I'm afraid of confrontation, I'm this, I'm that. It's also how you are doing that to yourself. And that's a big aha moment for people sometimes. They're like, oh, so I can't just do the things. I also have to speak to myself in a nice way. I still have to say, honey, that's a story. Don't believe that. That's not your truth. It's you rubbing your own back and holding your own hand and wrapping yourself in a blanket and making yourself that soup, or holding yourself and crying with a pillow and just telling yourself it's okay to feel this way. That doesn't define you. It's about relearning how to connect with yourself, how to bring yourself back into union. Because if you can go through the awarenesses of the mistakes, right? You can't have the awareness of today without yesterday's mistake. It's impossible. You have to make mistakes to have new awarenesses. If you can't look upon that and not beat yourself up, then that's some more work you got to do. You got to look at it and go, oh, okay, what did this teach me? Where's the wisdom here, right? So this is a lot of what I'm asking you guys to do for yourselves right now. Okay. So let's see if there's any questions before we wrap. I think I covered everything. And remember, this is the first of 4 supermoons. Supermoons can bring a lot of stuff up. A lot of stuff up. Oh, thank you. Thank you. One of the best updates they've watched. Hi, guys. Hi, Cindy, Salim, Vanessa. Hi, everyone. All right, see if there's any questions on TikTok. Last time I missed a bunch of questions. Some first-time people here watching. Yay. And for anybody who still wants to get in on that free challenge and live mini course, you can. I'll either drop a link, or Corey, if you're on, if you could drop a link, if you have it, to the 30-day challenge to sign up. You'll be, what today's the second, you'll just be a day behind. But if you want to be a part of that and you want to, jump into that 30 days of becoming your best self, of becoming the version of you that you want to be, and have a free interaction with me and my teachings, then I'll drop that in the comments. And if you're on TikTok, it's actually, there's a link in my bio. Just go check it out if you're interested in that. But you guys don't have to do that. There's going to be literally, there's no excuses anymore. There really isn't. There's so much available information and support out there. And that's a beautiful thing. It is such a beautiful thing. So I'll drop that in there. You guys can check that out. And I want you guys, this has been the shortest update I think I've ever done. I want you guys to just keep coming back to the remembrance of this statement that I made. And I forget who quoted this. His name's Trent something. But your perspective will either be your power or your prison. So if you get stuck in something that you're looking at, I want you to remember those words. And I want you to say, oh my God, this is either imprisoning me or it can empower me. How can I change my perspective? How can I change the way that I'm seeing this? How can I use this? Because when you're faced with being stuck in energy, right, or feeling like you can't move and you don't know what the right thing to do is or which way to go, it is a prison, but it's a mental prison, and it doesn't have to be. Okay. So thank you guys for joining me. Please share if you feel called with anybody. Oh, we got a question. How will the themes affect those who haven't done the work to shed during the deception phase? Good question. It's going to be heavy for them. Some people, if they're not fully awake or aware, they might not even notice what's happening. They might feel a little bit more sick, right? They might be more tired. They might be more pissy. It's going to be, this energy is bringing it up, right? The full moon brought it up, where tomorrow's the 3/3 portal, which again is about harmonizing. So when your body is not in harmony, and it's always trying, you guys, it is always trying to come into homeostasis. So if it can't come into homeostasis, if it can't harmonize, it's going to reflect back to you. So people will start to see people, places, and things coming to them, and they might experience deception. Meaning, I was just talking to someone about this. Like, for me, I recently re-experienced the wound of people don't do what they say they're going to do. There's several people in my life currently that aren't doing what they said they were going to do. And I sat with myself this morning and I said, okay, where am I doing that in my life? It doesn't have to be big. It could be something small. Where am I breaking my own word to myself to call in people who are going to break their word to me? So those people, without that awareness of I'm creating this, they're just going to experience that. So they might have people, places, or things that deceive them, or they don't honor them. They don't keep their word. And that's going to be hard for a lot of people. So sometimes that can be experienced in physical loss, financial loss, could be all kinds of different things, because the energy is always trying to harmonize. It's always trying to come back into that 0 point field. So if you have people in your life that aren't really aware, or really aren't willing to face their own wounding, won't look in the mirror and take ownership of where they are in their life currently, they will continue to experience, their subconscious being mirrored back to them. And that can be so hard to watch. Trust me, I know it can be really hard to watch, but you got to let these people play out their journeys, you guys. We have to stop impeding on people's journeys where they are. And instead, we hold compassion for them. And we know that that's where they need to be because they're going to learn the most lessons. Your growth happens in adversity. It doesn't happen when life's amazing. Your growth happens in the adversity. So every time you're going through something, one thing I tell myself is, this sucks right now, but I'm going to feel freaking fantastic once it's over. Look at all this damn space I'm making, you know? But you can always ask people too, do you want me to hold space for you, or are you looking for advice for me to help you? We don't just jump in and fix things. We allow people to speak where they are and hold space for them, even if we don't agree, even if we know so clearly what's happening. And then we can just ask them, are you just wanting me to hold space for you and listen to you and be here and be a support and love you where you are? Or are you looking for assistance? Are you looking for someone for advice? And then you have to give that advice from a place of no attachment, because 9 times out of 10, when you give somebody something for free, they don't value it because they didn't have the sweat equity in it for that realization to stick. Okay. So I hope that helps, Cindy, answer your question. All right, you guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, an amazing month. I will be in and out throughout this month, checking in on you guys, and I will be dropping a link if anybody wants to join the 30-day challenge last minute. I'll throw that in, and that's open for you guys. You can do this. Enjoy this energy. Let's make quantum leaps. Let's step into who we want to be, and let's change our reality. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.